Welcome to today's webinar, the key components to recruiting mastery, hosted by MAPS coach Rich Rector. Before I kick it over to Rich, I just have three quick announcements. Please note this meeting is being recorded. I will share the link in the chat momentarily to our MAPS YouTube channel where the recording will become available within 24 hours, and Rich will also email that out to you. Currently, everyone is on mute. However, we do value group participation, so we ask if you have any questions for Rich, please type them in the chat box. We'll address those as best as possible throughout the session. Following the meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack, FASTTRACK @kw.com. And that's all for me, Rich. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, everybody, thanks for being here. It's a great time to be in the recruiting business, as we all know, especially with the shifting market. I was just in Austin teaching at KWRI the last couple days, and we had a lot of great team leaders there, different levels of experience and years in the business. And I'm going to share with you some of the key things that we went through in that class, and it all is geared around the foundation of the key components to mastering recruiting. So let's just jump into it. The first thing that we want to take a look at is what is our opportunity and where are we at right now, right? In the shifting market, it creates a huge opportunity to create hope, right? Agents are looking for hope. 80% of them have never been through a shift. They weren't in the business 14 years ago, so they don't really know what to do. And in a lot of cases, you have the blind leading the blind because a lot of the brokers in the business were not brokerages during the shift. So agents are looking for answers or hope. So as you look at what is your strategy, both internally for retention and externally, your marketing, the things that you're putting out there, the classes you're doing, just your mindset, your energy, your approach as a leader, we want to be creating hope, right? We all know the stats. During the last downturn 14 years ago, 45% of the agents and brokerages, many brokerages left the business. That's just a NAR statistic. We also know what happened to us. Our company doubled in size and we tripled agent productivity during the shift. So we have the blueprint of success, and we want to make sure whether you were in the business then or not, it doesn't matter. Your company was, and we came out with flying colors because we have the blueprint of success, which is the shift book and those tactics and those strategies. And our company knows what to do in times when markets change. And this is the leveling of the playing field and the shift. And you can see what we're doing with things like 72 Sold and Team Bridge and the 201 Club now, and all these things. It's all geared around tactics to help agents win and to differentiate themselves in the community with their clients and to differentiate our company among our competition. So we need to create hope. You've got to be excited about, this market change because you're on the right bus and you want to let your agents know you're on the right bus and you want to expose the outside agents to the right bus, okay? Have urgency. Urgency matters in a shift, okay? Time's not your friend. You want to write that down. In recruiting in general, time's not your friend. The time that it takes to get off the phone, the time it takes between when you set an appointment and they show up, the time it takes between when you do your presentation and you close and they come over, all of that is urgency because time's not our friend, right? And it's definitely not our friend in a shift. On my coaching calls today, we talked about as we debriefed my clients' pipelines, what are the recruits that you're talking to, the experienced agents, are they clear on where they're at? Because some of these people aren't acting with urgency. What do you mean? Well, if you have somebody that you're talking to that wants to do $6 million in production this year, they need to have closed 500,000, right, by Tuesday. Period. If they haven't, they're behind. Do they have 500,000 on the books to close in February? Because February is over in terms of pendings, right? It's either pending or it's not. They put together a deal next week. That's going to be in March. That's closing in March, unless it's a cash deal, right? I mean, and honestly, let's call it what it is. In about 10 days, March is over too. So we've got to get people to wake up, and that's what creates urgency, right? So you want to do 6 million, you close 200,000 this month, you have 300,000 closing next month. So you're behind by 500,000 or 50% through the first 2 months of the year already. That's a reality check. That's how you create urgency. We need to double down, guys, on lead generation. It says that in the shift book. For agents, we have to do the same thing. Everybody's recruiting right now. Most of them are recruiting out of desperation, right? You're the one that has the mofers, right? We have the value propositions that people finally need now because the market has leveled out. So we've got to double down on lead generation to expose people to that, to let them know that we have this and to invite them to that, right? And give them hope. The 201 Club, 80%, go just do the math, pull out your broker metrics when we're off this call. Probably 80% of your MLS last rolling 12 months did under $100,000 in income. That's normal, right? 3.5 million and below, that's 80% of your market, like it is all of ours. So guess what? That's the 201 Club. Because agents that have 201 people in their database and are following a system, meaning that they're doing the nurtures and the touches and the smart plans, they're actually doing that, are making $119,500. That's more than everybody that's 3.5 million and under, or 80% of your MLS. So let's start using these mofers to get their attention. Do you want to make 6 figures in real estate this year in the shifting market? Here is the formula. We have it. Over 35,000 people that we've done the analytics on. This is the number. $119,500, the people that have 201 plus people in their database, right? And are doing something with that database. 72 sold. 72 sold as a mofer, right? Everybody wants to take more listings. Whether you're in the program or out of the program, all the agents are in the program if they want to be, because they can just do the $72 a month program, which is actually the real gold in the program, because they have all the marketing assets to push out there and to do all those things, regardless if they ever want to get leads by buying a seat. They don't even have to do that. So we have a competitive edge with our company that there's commercials and radio advertising, as you know, around a listing competitive edge, a listing program to get our agents listing appointments. Do you want listings? If you're doing Team Ridge and you have leads, and you have a lead option too with Rise or whatever you're doing, that's another mofer. Our communities, guys, is a mofer. We have 13 communities. Are you clear on what they all are? Relocation, you want more referrals. Have you heard about a relocation community? So create hope that we've got leads, listings, right? Systems, tools, the 201 Club, the technology that's all proven to get you more business in a shift. Do you want more business? So how you communicate matters as well. Follow up with your pipeline. Key tip right now, everybody that you met with last year, recruiting appointment, follow up with them. Their whole world has changed, just like everybody's has in the last 4 to 6 months. Follow up with them, see how they're doing. Plug them into some of these classes or mofers or conversations to get in front of them. Host monthly events, okay? We should be doing an event every single month. Events matter right now because people will come to events, especially around some of these competitive edges, around taking listings, doing more business, and getting leads. Okay? So have some classes around that you can invite outside people to give them hope, right? So make sure that we're doing those kind of things, because you're missing the window, and you don't want to have your competition hosting the events and having your agents go to those events when you should be doing it, because you have all the information and all the resources to do the events. And then really the last tactic I wrote down right now that's so timely is independent brokerages, indies, right? There's so many market centers across the country that are working with indies right now, don't miss that window of opportunity. The first group that starts panicking in a shift is the independent brokers, because they have such small margins and a limited amount of people. And when the market changes, those people leave. They want higher splits. They're complaining. And the independent broker typically is the rainmaker that's selling houses too, and their business is down, and now there's more demands on their time, and they have all this overhead. So those people really need help. Reach out to them, get into a relationship, right? There's some great conversations around that are out there. I've written a couple great ones that we use all the time to get appointments. For example, hey, I'm just reaching out to a select few top quality brokerages here in our local community to see if you'd like to get together for a mastermind session, just to talk about the opportunities in the market, the challenges in the market, and really just, what's happening as the market's changing. Would you like to grab a cup of coffee, right? Start the relationship with those people, okay? So the recruiting system, our topic that we're talking about today, the recruiting system. Here's in a nutshell why some recruiters are, like my client who I just talked to right before this call that grossed 12 for the month of January, why some recruiters are great, some are good, and some are just okay. It's really their level of mastery of the system. Okay, their level of mastery of the recruiting system. So just like a salesperson's business, recruiting is a business. And number one, what's your level of mastery? How would you grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in your recruiting plan? I'm not talking about a 1, 3, 5 for the market center. I'm talking about a specific recruiting plan that's geared to get you those 100 recruits that you want to gross, right? Do you have it broken down of what your sources are? What's the mix of those 100 people? What strategies are you going to use to go after that different mix of people? Because going after a new person is a lot different than an indie or a capper or a mega, right? And do you know your numbers? Do you know the metrics around what it takes to hit that gross 100 if that's your number, right? Do you know how many contacts it takes to get an appointment, and how many appointments to get a hire for a new person, for a half capper, or an experienced agent, right? Do you know how many hours it takes you and how many numbers that you have to dial to get somebody to answer the phone? 70% of the people don't answer the phone. So if you want to have 5 contacts in an hour, which is the average, you need to have 15 numbers to dial in that 1 hour time frame to get 5 to answer to get one experienced agent appointment at a 20% appointment setting rate. Right? So do you have a plan, and is it very strategic and predictable, which can be duplicatable as well, because it's all about the numbers and the math, just like a real estate agent's business is. Okay, so what's on number 1, scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your level of mastery around that? Number 2, what about the list of who you're going after, and what are those effective strategies? What are the strategies you're using to target cappers right now, right? Are you clear on that? And how would you grade yourself there? Next, mastering really the language of real estate, understanding that gross equals net, net equals profit. And some of those numbers and those metrics I just talked about under the plan, are you clear on how all that plays together so that recruiting can become predictable? See, whether you want to recruit 5 people a month or 25 people a month, it's just a math problem. That's all it is. Once we know the numbers, then we just have to solve the math problem. And that might be that you need to get leverage to help you get to 25 a month. You're going to have more people helping you, whether it's an ATL, a co-team leader, a cyberbacker, whatever that is. It's just a math problem once you know the numbers. All right, next, setting appointments for business consultations. Most top recruiters understand that it's not effective to call people up and ask them if they want to move. because 90% of the people didn't wake up today hoping to get a recruiting call, right? So there's a process and a psychological process around the mindset of an experienced agent and how to get them to want to have a conversation with you. They don't want to move. They fear change. They're happy where they're at. So how do I get them into a conversation to start the relationship? Okay. And that is a level of mastery to understand how to set appointments. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank, and rate yourself in terms of appointment setting? Next, how would you rate yourself in terms of your ability to do the presentation, the needs analysis, the 10-step presentation, our value propositions, communicating those benefits without selling them, right? Without saying this is the greatest thing that you can use and it's going to help you in your business, but rather showing them how other people are winning with it and asking them if they see value, how they would use it in their business, and how many additional transactions they think they could add to their business with that value proposition. See, that's an art in presentation, of needs analysis to the presentation to communicating your value propositions with the right questions in the right way, following a process that gets you the desired results, right? It's not just winging it. It's not telling and selling, right? Next, closing, objection handling, scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate yourself in objection handling, in closing, right? Do you know why people are stalling out? Do you know what you need to do to create urgency and get them to move forward? And whatever objections they're giving you, there's only about 5 key objections. Do you know how to handle those, right? Scale of 1 to 10. Next is really your time, right? How are you doing with your time blocking? How are you doing being accountable for the recruiting time in your role? That's a challenge. The biggest challenge we have in leadership is our time. And there's never enough time to do everything we have to do in leadership. So it's a matter of prioritizing it, time blocking it, and creating a buffer and a bunker for you to protect your time and other people to help you with that, whatever that time is. And then next, creating a simple lead follow-up system. Did you know that 70% of your hires will join you during the lead follow-up phase? 70. So with that being said, what's your system? Is it simple, right? What are you sending them? What are you saying to them? How often are you doing that? So for example, if I'm going to do a lead follow-up call, right, and I've done the needs analysis the right way, so I have the ammunition and the information I need and done the presentation properly, I'm going to call up and say, Bob, this is Rich over at KW. I just wanted to give you a quick call, see how you're doing. Right, we met a few months back, and I just wanted to see if you're on track for your 100,000 in income. I know how important that is for you to get your kids into that school, right, and buy that new home this year. How's it going? Rooting for you over here. How are you doing as you work through the first quarter of the year? Well, Rich, it's a little bit slow, and I'm a little bit behind. Hey, Bob, I know how important it is for you to be able to get to 100,000 and provide that for your family. Remember how we were talking about our coaching and support program when you met with me? Do you know that Sally Smith was in the same boat? She was doing about 50,000 in income, and do you know that she's on track right now after the first month of the year for $120,000 based on what she's closed and has pending? Let's get back together again, Bob. And so I can share with you how to kickstart your production to get on track for your 100,000. How's this afternoon at 3 or tomorrow at 4? So that's a great lead follow-up call because I have the ammunition because I did the needs analysis properly, right? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your agent transition system and orientation process, right? The minute that they say yes, that's when the real work starts because we have to coach them out of their brokerage. We have to help them with what they're going to say to that broker if they're going to go talk to them. We have to simulate the experience they're going to have before they go into the lion's den and that broker saves them, right? And then lastly, leveraging your hires. Do you know, just like a real estate agent, takes a listing, you can turn that one piece of business into multiple hires. There's a 12-step process on strategies on how to turn one experienced agent hire into 3 every time. That makes your life a lot easier. So you're not just trying to go find onesie twosies, but you bring in somebody and now you leverage them in these different ways to create additional hires. Okay. So real quick, since we're at the beginning of the new year, 2023, take a look at last year and do a quick assessment. Where did I get my recruits from? The new agents that I hired, where did I get them from? School, career seminars, referrals, the state list. Experienced agents, where did I get them from? Events, calling, referrals. Where did I get those people? And then again, let's really focus on mastering our schedule and our time blocks and the challenges and solutions that you're anticipating based on the goal you have this year and what kind of leverage you need to help you, because it's just a math problem. I wanted to show you this model that I created. Everybody loved this model this week in Austin at the class that we put together. And it's really, this is experienced agent recruiting, right? The first thing that we need to do in this analogy, it's like baseball, right? We've got to get a base hit. Okay, we're not going to be hitting home runs in this baseball game. This is about getting on base and scoring runs, okay? Because agents don't really want to move the second that you call them. So it's a process of setting them up. So we got to know what to say to get an appointment, because nothing happens if we don't get an appointment. Then we get an appointment, we're at first base, which is the needs analysis. And we have to master that needs analysis, which is a series of 27 questions that really gets them to self-discover their reality and the gaps that they have in their business and what they want to create in terms of their potential as a realtor. So we establish the gaps so then we can present to them at second base. And there's a systematic 10-step presentation process that you ask questions and the candidate closes themselves. They self-discover what the answer is. Do you see value in this advanced agent education, as an example? Step 1 is explain the benefit. Step 2 is provide evidence. Susie Smith plugged into our Bold program. She was taking about 9 listings a year. She took 6 listings in 7 weeks. Do you see value in this type of advanced agent education, as an example, right? So that's benefit, evidence. And then step 3 is, do you see value? Step 4 is, how would you use it? And step 5 is, how many additional transactions could you add to your business with it? So you're following a 10-step process to where when you explain a benefit, provide evidence, and ask questions, the candidate sees value in it because they're answering, do you see value? Yes, I do. How would you use it? They're verbalizing how they would use it, and then they quantify it because you ask them how many more deals they think they could add to the business with it, instead of you telling them. And now all of a sudden they can't run and hide from their own goals that you found out at the needs analysis and the amount of new deals that they are finding at Keller Williams with your presentation. So you're able to checkmate them in the chess game to bridge the gap to get to third base so that you can close, handle the objections, and transition them over, and then have urgency to do that, and how you transition them over with their objections and their stalls so that you can slide into home, have a great orientation and process so that they have a wow experience, and then you can leverage them for more appointments to go back to first base and round the bases again. Okay. So for sake of time, rate yourself, take a picture of this. These are some of the key recruiting strategies and sources to help you get to where you want to go. Rate yourself, because some of you do some of them great. Some of these are your strengths. Some of them you're not doing well at all. And some of you you're not doing it at all, period. So look at, this is how you can get better, is elevate your scores on all of these different sources: calling, referrals, events, co-broke transactions, getting out and seeing the people at tours and open houses, leveraging your hires like we talked about, your marketing, your social media, new agent licensing schools, and then leveraging your team. Who's helping you? Who can you leverage to help? Okay. The agent mindset, as I mentioned, they fear change. They don't want to move. They're happy where they're at. They believe that they're with the best company. So we have to use that baseball analogy approach to set them up along the process which is why you can't call somebody up that's an experienced agent and they're just going to join you right away, right? That might happen once in a while, but that's not the overwhelming process that'll work, okay? So their hot buttons are time and money. Everything else is a spin-off of that. I want to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time because I'm an independent contractor. They're self-interested, right? They don't really care that, that we're the new team leader or we're opening a new office. They care about what? Time and money in themselves. And right now they care about how am I going to get business? Curiosity is created by using third-party testimonials. And we have to do that in less than 10 seconds over the phone to get an appointment, because time's not your friend. So you know what to say. Okay, before we open up for questions, a couple things I want you to think about. Are you reaching your recruiting goals, right? As a leader, regardless of what your role is, are you hitting your goals? Have you mastered some of these things we talked about today? The other question I would ask you is, do you have agents and teams who also want to grow their teams as well? Because Gary has said, in a shift, that's where talent shows up. There's going to be a tremendous movement of talent for us to recruit in as a company and for your teams to grow their teams. So the MAPS Rockstar recruiting program that I teach goes through all of that. How do agents build their teams? How do agents recruit? And obviously, how do you recruit? Because the process is the same. There's a couple additional strategies, but the agents have to master how to communicate with realtors, how to create curiosity, just like you need to do as well, okay? Here's the QR code on the program that's launching February 9th, if you'd like to be included in that. The program's been around for 15 years. It's one of the staples in our company for teaching you and your agents how to recruit. So take a snapshot of that. You can go to the MAPS website as well. And we'd love to have you included. I'd love to have your agents included in that as well, because this is the time to really maximize and capitalize on the movement that we're going to see. Remember, guys, that getting better and growing is not easy and sometimes painful. So you want to start getting comfortable, right, being uncomfortable, because that's the opportunity we have in the shift. And the people that are early adopters to getting uncomfortable with the new way our business is, because the market's changed, are the ones that are really going to come out on top, whether they're your agents and teams or you as a leader. Because in about 6 months, people are going to figure out, if they're still in the business, what has to be done to succeed. And by that time, you can really have grown your market center, expanded your web, and your agents have grown their teams as well, okay? What questions do you have? We'll open it up in the chat here real quick. There's the link for the Rockstar. There's also a discount code for you being on the call today and your agents as well. So you can just copy that, Web15, if you'd like to take advantage of that. All right, I'm muffled. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me pretty clearly. Since we're already finished, I apologize for that. This is recorded, and I'm going to send this recording to you so that you can go ahead and listen to it again, or pass it on to some of your agents or anybody that you know. There's the link to the YouTube channel. Any questions? Any questions at all? Best approach for a new indie. Okay, great question. So the script I can't say scripts anymore. So the conversation that I just said, getting into a relationship with them. So if I called you up and said, hey, I'm just calling, a select few top quality brokers in our local market, or, hey, I just wanted to give you a call. I've always been impressed with you and your company and your business. I'm reaching out to some independent brokers in our community to get together for, kind of a mastermind session as the market's changing and there's opportunities and challenges. And we'd love to just grab a cup of coffee if you'd be available this week to do that. So just start the relationship, because you're not going to one and done with an indie, right? An indie is going to start with trust and rapport in a relationship. And then you can find out what their pain points are, what their vision is, their goals are. And that could play right into how we can help and support them. There's a more aggressive indie approach where you could say, hey, Gary Keller, I don't know if you've heard, but Gary Keller just came out with a new model where great independent brokers like yours can align with the different resources and tools that we have at our company and still remain an independent broker? Is that something that you might be open to hearing about, especially as the market's changing?
So where would I find something like that? Because there's a brand new, well, he's not brand new, he's been there for a bit, but he opened up, it's kind of a strange brokerage. It's called Brewing Brokers. So he's got a coffee shop in his brokerage. Like anybody can go. And he's got 9 people working there, and it's literally 5 minutes down the road. So I actually did approach our OP with it, and he said, yeah, for sure. So like, I do want to go down, because it's something that we could always say, like, leave everything as it is, your marketing and everything else, and then you're just powered by KW. Sure. With all of our things. But I'm just like, he did invite me to something not that long ago, and I was unable to make it. So I was thinking of going down there and saying, hey, we're having a mastermind next week. Yeah. Why don't you come in, and then I'll bring all the agents down here for a coffee after, because it's a great place.
Yeah, so just want to start the relationship so you can have some conversations around how things are going, how's the market treating you, what's your vision, this is a cool thing you set up. Why did you decide to get in the brokerage business? I mean, it's really just about starting the relationship. Remember, everybody, you don't want to get in the weeds. You don't want to get the cart before the horse. It starts with the relationship. Once you get to the point to where you have somebody that you think a viable candidate for some sort of a indie opportunity, bring in your OP, bring in the region, because there's multiple ways to put something like that together. But you're way, we're too early for all of that. We just want to start the relationship, however that works for you. If you want to just send me an email, rich@rectorrecruiting.com. I've got, those 2 indie scripts as an example, and some letters and some texts and things that I've put together in my library that I'd be happy to share with you for indies. Okay. Any other questions or anything I can help you guys with? Well, thank you for being here. Hey, anybody that wants to really master recruiting, look at the Rockstar Recruiting Program. It's a very affordable, very popular program that, again, has been standing the test of time, and we've got all the new stuff in there with all of our new mofers and all those things. I'll see you guys at Family Reunion. You're coming to my neck of the woods in Southern California, so we'll see you here, guys. Thanks for being on the call today. Bye-bye.